Hello and welcome to the USGBC Social Media Content Planning and Execution webinar. This is our Q1 Kickoff Community Webinar. My name is Julia Pergolini. I'm the Social Media Specialist here at USGBC, and today is February 1st, 2017. We want to first make sure that everybody is logged into their Hootsuite accounts with their community registration. So if everybody could take a minute to make sure that they're logged in, we'll get started in just a moment. Today's agenda is focusing on content planning and execution from start to finish. We'll begin by looking at ways to accumulate great content, places to find strong content, and the USGBC national resources that are available to you and how you can access those important pieces of content. Next, we'll go into the details of Hootsuite, which is a social media scheduling platform that will allow you to plan and execute your social media content accordingly. We'll also look into how to craft key messaging. This means we're going to look into how to send direct messages, how to appropriately use hashtags, and how to tag influencers accordingly in your posts. Why is it important that our community uses social media? Well, as USGBC National continues to grow on a global scale, we find that U.S. messaging and regional and local messaging sometimes gets lost on our national channels. We hope that social media for your region allows you the opportunity to connect more with local influencers and get your messaging to the people that need to hear it most. How are you going to sell the story of LEAD? First, we must identify great content. Hopefully none of these logos look unfamiliar to you. USGBC is on all of these channels. Ideally, you have at least a Twitter, maybe a Facebook, perhaps a LinkedIn group, but you by no means need to have all of these channels. We recommend that you take on only what you can really maintain. Nobody likes a stale page. The first resource that's available to you at USGBC National is located on our staff resources page. You can find that at www.staff.usgbc.info. There are two sections on this page with social media resources. One is labeled Social Media Resources, and the other is Social Media Tips. The second folder, available to you on the resources page, includes general social media tips and tools, USGBC established best practices for our community, and the necessary handles you should be following for maximum engagement, including the handles of your other integrated communities. The next resource available to you is usgbc.org. Every day, USGBC National is posting 5 to 7 original and brand new pieces of content on our website. The USGBC.org national content can be shared and promoted through your local channels when relevant. It contains up-to-date knowledge on LEAD, green building, and general sustainability movement, as well as policy and government affairs. Another great example of evergreen content exists in our Lead in Motion reports, which are available online at leadinmotion.com. USGBC Plus membership magazine, found at plus.usgbc.org, is another great resource for evergreen content. Our member magazine contains feature-length news articles about some of the most exciting initiatives happening in our community right now. It should also be noted that starting in 2017, we're distributing a bi-monthly newsletter to our community members that will have social media content messaging in it that coincide with the public relations themes for the year. And of course, you can always source content from outside National. These are some examples of channels that distribute content that we find reliable and accurate. You'll note all of USGBC and GBCI channels are listed here and are also resources always as shareable material. The three last listings, local government representatives, local members, and local green industry businesses and organizations, are important people to connect with on your local channels. You can find their handles by researching their websites or by simply searching their name in the Twitter search engine. We'll talk more about this later in the amplification section, but connecting with these individuals will become very important when it comes to local campaign planning and event preparation. Next, we'll be moving on to crafting key messaging. Begin at the beginning. First and foremost, we have to build a plan. We often hear from community members that capacity becomes an issue when it comes to scheduling out social media. The way to alleviate this is to build a plan. This way, when you have a representative in the office that's able to devote time to social media, they have a framework to follow and suggested ideas. I've created this sample template of opportunities to engage in different hashtag initiatives, but feel free to create your own calendar that coincides with your goals for the week, month, or year. Our social media audiences can be divided into 3 categories. The most basic is Facebook and Instagram. This means that we do share lead and green building knowledge, but sometimes we also post general sustainability information just to engage people in conversation. Next is Twitter. You'll find that many people on Twitter have investment in the lead mission, in the sustainability mission, and want to share our content with their own followers as well as engage with our own members. Lastly, LinkedIn. LinkedIn posts tend to be the most technical. Our audiences on LinkedIn are generally very engaged in the subject matter, are often lead professionals themselves, and are committed to our movement and mission. As we discussed, let's get started on the ins and outs of Hootsuite, a social media marketing and management dashboard. This tool will become incredibly beneficial when it comes to building out that plan we just talked about. This is a general image of what your dashboard will eventually look like once you have all of your channels set up. Let's begin by adding our social networks. Click in the top left corner where you see Add Social Network. Once prompted, connect all of your social media accounts using the Add Social Network tool. Once all of your existing channels are connected with Hootsuite, you can begin creating and scheduling content to each of these platforms. First, pick which channel you would like to post to. Once you've selected your handle, it's time to compose your message. Keep in mind what we discussed about audiences. Your message is going to be slightly different on each platform, as your audience is different. If you have a URL address that you would like to use within your content, which 9 times out of 10 you will, Hootsuite offers a URL shrinking tool. You'll copy and paste your URL into the toolbar, click Shrink, and it will make your link more succinct and readable. You'll likely have an image that you'll want to add to your message. Keep in mind, images produce higher results in engagement across social media. Click on the paperclip, choose your file, upload that file, and add it to your message. It should appear in the gray text box below. Last step, schedule that content. Pick which day of the week, which time, make sure you adjust AM and PM, and schedule. Note that in the Publisher tab, you can see all of your scheduled content, past, present, and future. Hootsuite also offers basic analytics on the performance score of some of your content, your posts, and your flow of engagement, as well as your follower increase or decrease. Hootsuite isn't the only tool that allows you to do this for free. There are also basic insights and analytics provided by both Facebook and Twitter. It's important to check in every once in a while on how your content is performing. Perhaps you want to tweak your messaging, or maybe change your time of day that you schedule it. Maybe you see that you're busier at night than you are in the morning. These are important anecdotes to consider. Now let's talk about ways to amplify our message so that it can have a wider reach. If social media is about creating a conversation online, it's important to consider who you want to connect with. This is why identifying influencers is so important. Take, for example, Green Apple Day of Service. I thought about if I were trying to connect with schools in my hometown of Philadelphia. If I simply keyword search Philadelphia and schools, anybody that holds an account that uses those keywords in their bio or in their content will show up. These are people I want to make sure definitely get my message. There are 3 ways to do that. You can direct message, Not everyone has a direct message tab available, but when they do, it is located just under their thumbnail on their Twitter page. The second thing you can do is tag them in your message. As long as you have extra character space, you can insert their handle right in your message, just like we did on Hootsuite. The last way you can do this, and perhaps the most effective, is you can tag up to 10 people in a photo, but that is only just if you're posting directly to Twitter. This feature is not available in Hootsuite. As you can see in my Green Apple Day example, I tagged local Philadelphia representatives, including the mayor. I tagged Philadelphia education reporters, and I tagged Philadelphia public school systems. You'll note my use of the official Green Apple Day hashtag in my message. Hashtags have become an incredibly important part of social media, particularly Twitter. Hashtags got their start on Twitter as a way of making it easier to find, follow, and contribute to a conversation. When creating a hashtag for a particular campaign or event, think of that hashtag as a hub or connecting point, where anyone who wants to engage on that subject matter can contribute. On the other hand, there are also ways to use hashtags to include yourself in a conversation for a broader audience. In the next slide, you'll see instances where USGBC National chose to engage in a conversation that was relevant to our mission that happened to be trending online at a particular time. Let's take, for example, the Stanley Cup. 2016's Stanley Cup occurred in a LEED Gold facility, the Consol Energy Center. Knowing that so many people were going to be discussing Stanley Cup in that moment, it became a perfect opportunity to find ways to make LEED part of the Stanley Cup conversation. The next awesome example of this is by Greenbuild International Conference and Expo. They used a USGBC post about top 10 LEED state number 1 Massachusetts as leverage for promotion of Greenbuild Boston. It was a perfect opportunity to connect the two. Lastly are a few examples of some great work by our own chapters in use of handles, hashtags, and appropriate graphics. Take a look at some of these examples and gain insight into how you can better join some of these conversations. With posting practice and consistency, you'll catch on in no time to the ebb and flow of your social media traction. As noted, social media is constant. These are the commitments that we ask of our community members in order to properly maintain each page. If these number of posts per week don't seem possible, it's important we have a discussion about whether you're able to properly maintain some of your social media pages. Ideally, all of you have at least a Twitter, a Facebook, and perhaps a LinkedIn group. Instagram is not necessary until you feel well equipped. Just as a benchmark for your own reference, this is USGBC's follower count and average posts and likes per week. While the numbers seem intimidating, USGBC audiences did not grow overnight. It's important to review your metrics, study the data, and set goals so that you can improve upon your social media performance in the future and expand your engagement and local reach. We hope you found this webinar helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out to me, Julia Pergolini, at jpergolini@usgbc.org, or on Twitter at HooliaSays, HooliaSays. Happy posting!